Good morning again, my dear hookers. I know for you guys, for all of you, this is number one. For me, this is more than I want to count. So just whatever. First things first, good morning, my dear hookers. How are you this smoky day? I know that a while ago we were underwater and now we are on fire alert. A lot can happen in 3 weeks of 36 plus degree weather. And I'm sorry, I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. I just know for this poor old Canadian, it is hot. And I don't like it. I don't like it at all. All right, so this is the granny square that we are making today. And now that I've made it once, it should be easy peasy and smooth sailing, right? That's what I thought yesterday after the second or third or fourth time. So here we go. Let me just fix you up here. There we go. I think that's better. We are going to be making as you can see, it's definitely got some definite texture to it. And this is what they call a super easy 3D granny square. It is one of the beginning ones. It doesn't have a lot of poofies and a lot of petals here and there and everywhere, but it is still super cute. Depending on what colors you use, it can look like a flower. I've made it so that it almost looks like a sunflower with the yellows and the greens and the browns. Please forgive me. I will be doing a lot of that today. I hope it's not going to bother anybody too much. I will try to pause if it's going to get bad, but that is how much smoke we've got. I did a video, I don't know, yesterday or the day before, I don't even remember now. And it was a little short just to show you how bad it is. It hasn't changed in 3 days. It has not changed. So bear with me as I cough my way through this. So what we need are little tiny bits of as many colors as you want. You can do a color change on each round. I did not, as you can see, I did 3. I started with 1, 2, 3, and then went back to 1. I like using the 3 colors. It makes it a lot easier because we have ends. And yes, I know I should have done my ends in. I haven't yet because I wanted to show you what they looked like. Okay, so as it stands now, this is the one we're going to do today. And as you can see, we have a little bit of a dipsy doodle along the sides. As I said in the last video, when we start putting these all together, you can block them if you want. You can absolutely block them if you want. There's not much point at this point because when you start putting them all together, it's going to straighten out those sides. The reason the sides are dipsy doodling like this is simply because we started with a round and then squared it. Okay, so today we are going to be making a popcorn stitch. We are going to be making single crochets, double crochets, half double crochets, and treble crochets. And of course, the obligatory chains. Penny, no, baby. Good girl. And as you can see, okay, this one is almost the exact same size. It doesn't look it because this makes it look smaller, but it's almost the exact same size as every other one we've done. This is the other one that we did just the other day. So again, you want to keep them. Penny, stop. Mine are all round about 4.5 to 5 inches. And so that tells me that this one is exactly perfect. If I do need to square them up later so that they're perfect for making a blanket and whatnot, I can add rows of single crochets and that will bring them up to say a solid 5 or what have you. But decide what size you want your squares to be before you start your actual blanket. Using these as swatches, that's great. But let's just say I want all of my squares to be exactly 4.5 and that's final. I need to adjust my yarn and my hook size to make sure that happens. I do happen to know that most of my squares are around that 4.5 mark, so I am good to go with this one. Okay, so I'm just getting rid of the cord here. Now colors, I'm going to use the same colors. Whoopsie. Okay, I'm going to use just about the same colors. Actually, I should use the same colors, shouldn't I? There we go. Okay, same colors as yesterday. And I'm going to do them in a little bit different order because I can. On the last video, I said, you can do, if you've got bits and bobs of all these different blues or yellows or pinks or whatever, and you want to make a corresponding granny square blanket, what you can do is make, say, 15 of this one, and then 15 of starting with the color number 2, going to color number 3, and then going to color, I'm sorry, let me try that one more time. My brain isn't working. So in the middle, I would start with this second color. Then I would go to the darker color. And then I would go to the lighter color, finishing off with this color. Okay. So if I number the colors 1, 2, 3, then the next one would be 2, 3, 1. And then the third batch that I would do is 3, 1, 2. Does that make sense? So that you've got 3 sets of different colored granny squares. It gives you a little bit more interest in your blanket. It gives you a little bit more variation in your blanket. If you like the colors as they are, so say, for example, you're doing them to make them look a little bit more like a flower, you can start with, say, a yellow in the middle, and then go to your flower petals, and then do 2 different colors of green. And then just switch your flower petal color. Flower petal color. And at that point, then you've got lovely little different bits and bobs that make a granny square blanket exciting. And that, to me, gives that granny square some fun, some color, some flair. Make it your own. If you want to do, 20 different kinds of granny squares, then please feel free. But for today, there we go. For today, I'm going to go back to my old colors, but I think I am going to change things up. I'm going to start with this one, then go to this one, and then this one, finishing off with this one. And that way you can see the two different squares in the color variations, okay? So now for this kind of yarn, I chose a very, normal sized yarn. They're pretty much all exactly the same. I think the blue one, the light blue one, is a little bit lighter than the other two, but it's not a whole lot lighter. It's fine. So for this kind of yarn, I do need a size 5 hook. I know this is my size 5 hook because this is the only size I have in this hook kind. One moment. Okay, I think that's better. I think I've cleaned my lens a little bit and it's not quite as weird looking. Alrighty, so size 5 hook. 3, 4, 5, or 6 different colors, or one color. If you want to do this all in one color, feel free. Do this in one color. I did actually get out 5 colors at one point because I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but ended up putting 2 of them back, first of all, because those 2 are pretty close. They're not going to give me a lot of definition that I wanted. So that's why I chose these 3. The lightest blue is a little bit lighter than I had thought I liked with going with these other 3 colors. Alrighty. You, of course, need your darning needles. And, of course, you need your scissors. And as I discovered yesterday, these scissors are super sharp. I cut myself twice yesterday in making the video. So anyway, there we are. Okay. So I'm going to put these 2 aside for now. And I'm going to go with this one. And in order to keep the color change pattern together, I did number these 1, 2, and 3, and then going back to 1. So now I'm going to go 2, 3, 1, going back to 2, so that you can see that it does give it some continuity without making it boring, if that makes sense. All right, so here we go. We are going to start with our obligatory slip knot. There we are. Again, so many ways to make this. Please don't think this is gospel. It's just the easiest one for me. And as everyone out there knows, I don't do the magic circle in a granny blanket. So I'm going to chain 4. Remember, this doesn't count as a stitch. So I've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now I'm going to, in my 4th chain from the hook, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to slip stitch. That's going to create a very safe, very secure circle for myself. I do use the magic circle on occasion. We can do a tutorial on doing both the magic circle and the double magic circle. I've been told that, ooh, the double magic circle, it's not that great. So again, I do not do chains, but for those of you who do, you want to chain 3, that will count as your first double. And for those of you who have been following along, I'm going to do my standing double. So I've done the twist, I've gone through the middle, pull through 2 and pull through 2. Except I think I've split my yarn. Oh, no, I haven't. We're good. Yay. Now I'm going to pull my end back so that I can catch it underneath my stitches because, like I said, there's a lot of ends in this one. So now we've got 1 double crochet done. We are going to put 12 total. So 11 more double crochets in this little ring. Okay, so there's 1. Oops, there we go. Yarn over, put through the ring. Yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. And if you think, Sherry, you're doing this an awful quick way, can you slow down? You know what? At that point, I'm going to tell you, stop. Stop this video, go to my tutorials, because all of these tutorials that we're going to do today for every stitch except the popcorn. For the popcorn, I will go a lot slower. But for every stitch except the popcorn, I have a tutorial. For the popcorn stitch, we got this. I'm going to go super slow for that one for you, okay? So there's 3. Here's 4. Okay, I'll go a little slow. 5. And 6. And 7. My yarn's going to go all over the place if I don't do that. And 8. And 9. And 10. 11. And 12. Now, for these granny squares, just so you've got your counts right, even though I counted, especially for this first round, I will always do a double check, okay? So again, this doesn't count as a stitch. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and my first wonky looking thing, 12. That is my standing double crochet. Okay, so now I'm going to find that beginning crochet and I'm going to find 1/2 and the other half of the V. Okay, see, I've got both bits in there. I'm going to pull over and pull through both. Okay, so now I've got a nice tight little circle. I've got 12 double crochets. I am ready to go. Oh, wait, we're going to give it a chain just to lock it off, and we are going to snip it. Okay, there we go. First round is done. And again, this is another one of my mom's. I deconstructed it. My mom and dad were visiting last week. Oh my goodness, we had so much fun. And I showed her all the things that I was doing, and she was just like, well, goodness, there you are. So now I'm going to take color number 3, because this is color number 2. That's color number 1. Color number 2 is my dark blue. Now this is going to make it a little bit more difficult to see the popcorns, but I'm going to go super slow. So what you're going to do is you're going to find any of the double crochets. It doesn't matter, pick one. I'm going to come back so that I can catch this in at least 1 or 2 popcorns. And I'm going to stick my hook through. I'm going to grab this, bloop, pull it up, wrong way. I pulled the wrong end. Sorry, everyone. All right, let's just pull that back so it's a little bit more manageable. And then I'm going to just give it a half hitch, okay? Only because I just want it to be secure. I know I've said this before in my Granny Square tutorials. Always, always, always remember, if this is going to a little, especially if it's going to a little, littles have a tendency to have body fluids. And littles like to get sick and then put body fluids all over the place. And we all know, as anybody who has had littles in their lives, know that body fluids aren't always a fun thing. All right. So now what I need to do is, because, okay, that's lovely that I've got that there. Now what do I do with it? So I need to pull up a loop. So I'm just going to go right back in there, loop, and I'm going to grab that yarn and I'm going to pull up a loop. Done. Okay. Now for our very first popcorn, we're going to do 12 popcorns. So we're going to get really, 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 really good at them. But there's 2 ways to do this. Okay. You can do the starting chain 3 if you don't like doing the standing doubles. Totally fine. But for the standing doubles, we're going to go loop and we're going to go back in that same stitch. Oops. We're going to grab, we're going to pull through 2 and we're going to pull through. I did that a little bit wrong, so let's do that again. See, even I can sometimes get messed up. Alrighty. So I'm going to do the twist, go back in that same stitch, pull up a loop, pull through 2 and pull through 2. That's much better. Now we're going to do 4 more double crochets, okay, in this same very stitch. So we're going to do 1, 2, oops, there we go, 3, and let's catch that end. There we go. And 4. Okay, so that should give us a total of 1, 2. I know it's hard to see. 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and you'll notice I took my hook out of here. Grab that with your fingers. Go back to your very, very first standing double or chain. It doesn't matter which one you used. And normally I would say don't let go of that, but this is going to be a bit fiddly and I need my fingers for it. There we go. Okay, so there's my first double. I'm going to put my hook through either the chain or the standing double. I'm going to grab a hold of that loop that I dropped from before, and I am going to pull it through. Okay, now as you can see, it made a bump. Can you see that? It made a bump. So that is our first popcorn made. Now I'm going to chain 2 in the very next stitch right here. I'm going to make another popcorn. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, I don't want that chain 2 space. I want that very first double crochet. You can see I've got a tight hold on this in my nasty nails, and I am going to put my hook through both sides of the V in that very first double crochet. I'm going to grab my loop and I'm going to pull it through. Okay, that one was a bit easier because we didn't have that standing double or the chain to deal with. So 1, 2 chains in the very next stitch, not in. So if you're doing it like me, okay, this is not a stitch. This is, okay. This is where we did the slip stitch. So it looks like a stitch. It's not. So you've got to be very, very careful that you don't put an extra popcorn in there. Okay. So you want to skip that and you want to catch your lighter blue, the lighter blue thread. And you're going to do again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, here we go again, dropping my loop from my hook, hanging on to it, not the chain, oopsie, not the chain space. You don't want to go in there. You want to go into that first double crochet. Okay, see, like I've done, so not in this chain spacey bit. You want to go into the top of the first double crochet, grab that loop and pull through. Okay, chain 2. How are we doing? Are we liking the popcorn so far? I'm kind of torn about popcorns. I don't like popcorns as part of a sweater pattern, but I do like them in granny squares because you can make them do all sorts of funky things with different colors. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to find my next what have I done here? There we go. I'm going to find my very next, there it is, my very next double crochet, and I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, oopsie, and 5 double crochets. Okay, there we go. Now again, remember, not into the chain 2 space. You don't want to catch the chains. You want to go right into the very tippy top of that first double crochet. And I know this is a little harder to see because of the dark colored yarn, but just bear with me because this is the last row we're going to do in it. Okay, and pull through. Chain 2. Okay, can we go a little faster now? You guys doing okay? And again, we want to go on the very, very next stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 double crochets in that same stitch. Let it go. Come back, not going into the chain, going into the very first double crochet. All right. Grabbing that I almost lost, and pull through, chain, and 2. I'm sorry, one moment. Sorry about that. The smoke was getting to me again. All right, so we have 5 double crochets. My goodness, 5 popcorn crochets done. I'm very impressed. So let's carry on, shall we? So we've done our chain 2. So again, very, very next stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, oopsie, 4, and 5. Okay, now I'm going to hold on to that loop, drop it off my hook. I'm going to come back, I'm going to skip that chain, and I'm going to find my very first double right there. I'm going to go through, grab my loop back again, and pull through. Chain 2. Done. Well done. So we're halfway there already with our popcorns. So let's keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we're going to again drop that loop, missing that chain, coming into that very first double crochet, grabbing it, pulling it through, and chaining 2. Okay, now if I've gone too fast for anybody, stop, rewind, and go back to where we first started with these lovely popcorns. Popcorns can be a little fidgety, and that's fine too, because we'll get there, I promise. If you're making a blanket out of these, you will be a pro at popcorn stitches by the time you're done. So let's go on to the next stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to hold on to that, drop it off my hook, leaving alone that chain 2 space. I'm going to come right into that first double crochet, okay? Grabbing the loop and pulling it through and chaining 2. All right? Next, very, very next stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I can hear my daughter and her children playing outside, and now I want to go outside and play. Okay, I'm dropping my loop, missing the chain 2 space, going into the top of that very first double crochet, and pulling it through. All right, and chaining 2. Now we should have 1, 2, 3. So we should have 9 popcorns already. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect. We have 3 spaces left. Wonderful. That will give us 12 popcorns. And that's exactly what we want. And the reason I'm kind of emphasizing counting on these granny squares, if we get to when, I shouldn't say if, 1, 2, 3, 4, when we get to the point where we are doing sensory blankets or larger blankets, we have to ensure that we have the correct counts. Chain 2. So doing this with the smaller pieces like this kind of gets you used to doing the double check. Yeah, you know what? I got this. I know that I already did, 27 stitches, 270 stitches, 2,707 whatever stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But did you really? Did you miss one? Did you whatever? By setting yourself up at the beginning, you're setting yourself up to have a perfect blanket. Okay? And when I say 2,700 stitches to a side, I mean 2,700 stitches to a round, to a side, to a whatever. I have done blankets that big. I have made king-size blankets. And the biggest one I've ever made, 3, 4, 4, oh goodness, 4 and 5. All right, now here comes a bit of a tricky part. So let's finish off our popcorn first. Again, ignoring these chains, coming into the very top of that first double, grabbing and pulling. Okay, we're doing our chain 2, but, and here's where it's going to get a bit fidgety. The construction of the popcorn stitch. You have basically made a circle out of your 5 double crochets at the top of your popcorn stitch. And I'm going to come through the back. Don't do this when you're making the stitch, but you can kind of see a little bit better when you're doing your own. You've kind of made this circle. What you're going to want to do, okay, I'm going to see if I can show this to you as best I can. You're going to want to come, I'm sorry, one moment, please. It's even hard for me to see in the camera. There it is. Okay. You're going to want to come into the middle of that. That is not the middle, Sherry. What are you doing? There we go. Okay. So you're going to want to come into the middle, and we're going to have to do this lot. So this is going to be a bit of a persnickety. There you are, Ascendant Hennessy. A persnickety round. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull back through and pull back through, because we are going to be chaining 1 and snipping. Okay. So there's color 3. We are done with color 3. Oh, that looks kind of pretty. And then we're going to take our dark blue and we're going to put it aside because we're done with our dark blue now. Okay. Now we're going to, that was color number 2, color number 3. Now we're going to go to color number 1. And this will actually set us up for super easy down the road. So yay. All right. Alrighty. So here we are. We have our initial round that we made in our little circle. Then we have 12 popcorn crochets plus 2 chains in between each. Excuse me, sorry. I'm going to put you on pause for 1 second. Sorry about that. I just needed a little bit of a drink. It's very, very smoky. Alrighty, so for round 3, we're going to join our color number 1, although in this particular square it's color number 3, but in keeping with the coloring system that I have, we're going to do that. And what we're going to do is we're going to come back just a little ways so we can catch these, okay? We're going to come back and find a chain 2 space, okay? And we are going to join our yarn. Now again, we have littles that we're dealing with, okay? So I want to make sure that nobody goes, oh, but Granny made that for you. Please don't use it. No. Grannies don't want these to be put on a shelf. Grannies never want these to be put on a shelf. I am a proud card-carrying grandma of 8 grandchildren. 8. I have never, ever made anything for my grandchildren that they cannot drag around. I don't care. I do not care. You think you want me to, I want you to put that on a shelf and somewhere and never use it? No. I go over to my daughter's house every once in a while and I see the blankets on the floor. I see the blankets after the kids have carried them around. I see blankets when the kids have, oh, let's be honest, been a bit snotty because of cold or the flu or, oh, yeah, COVID. Oh, sorry, YouTube. I didn't say that out loud. And I want them to use this. This is grandma's hug. This is when grandma's not around. This is my hug to you. Okay? All right. So now again, we need to grab a loop. So we've got a loop on our hook. Alrighty. Now, for this round, we are going to make granny clusters. Okay? And we are going to make granny clusters by starting with, as usual, either a chain 3 or our standing. Oh, goodness. What have you done, Sherry? Let's try that one more time because I just made a mess of everything. What the heck is going on here? There we go. All right, let's try that one more time because I managed to pull my end through as well. Okay. Now, let me just double check my notes before I go any further. Okay, perfect. So now we're going to make granny clusters all the way around in the chain 2 space. So if you want to fast forward this, because, we've done granny clusters how many times now? There we go. There's 1, 2, let's grab that end. There we go. 2 and 3. All right. Now, like I said, if you want to go ahead, don't do any spaces in between your granny clusters. Okay. So feel free if you guys, if any of you want and you know what you're doing and you think, I don't need to watch this next little bit while you do 12 granny clusters around the circle, please feel free. Go ahead and fast forward. I will try. I'm still not 100% sure how to do it, but I will do my best to try to figure out how to do timestamps. So I'm getting there. I'm getting there, everyone. I promise. Okay. But all I'm literally doing is doing 3 double crochets in every chain 2 space. Okay. And 3. And that's all I'm doing. I'm not doing a chain in between. There's no chain in there. I'm just doing 3 double crochets in every chain 2 spot. Okay. You got it? Is everybody doing okay? For those of you who have fast forwarded, you're not going to be listening to this, but that's okay because I'm sure I'll be bringing it up another time. Getting back to the blankets that I have made, when I said 2,700 stitches, I mean 2,700 stitches. The largest blanket I ever made was the Saskatchewan Rough Riders for my dear, dear friends, Rick and Trish. They live in Saskatchewan. Bless them. I miss them so much. And I'm such a terrible friend. I have not called them. I have not anything to them. I don't even know how they're doing. I feel like such a bad friend. But I miss them terribly. I really do. Anyway, that was a king-size blanket. And no word of a lie, 345,000 stitches went into that blanket. So when somebody tells you, oh, why are your blankets and your stuff so expensive? Count how many stitches it took for those blankets, or the shawl, or the poncho, or the dishcloth, or even a silly little granny square. 345 plus thousand stitches went into that king-size Rough Riders blanket. My friends, Rick and Trish, bless them, they knew how much time I had put in there, and they were so grateful. All right, so let's just double check again, setting ourselves up for a success, not a failure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Perfect. I have 12 granny clusters. Now I'm going to find my very first, there it is, find my very, very first standing double and get my hook through both sides of that doggone V. There we are. All right. And now I'm going to slip stitch, chain 1 to close, and I'm going to snip that off because we're going back to color number 2. Ow. again with those darn scissors. There we go. Of course, if I wasn't looking through the camera, I probably would be a lot better at that. All right, so here is now the hardest part of our granny is done. Okay, the rest is smooth, smooth, smooth sailing. I promise. Maybe. Ha ha ha. All right. So for 1, 2, 3, round 4. Okay. Oops. I'm going to start it off. And again, I'm just going to pick 1 second. I'm going to pick a space in between, not the granny cluster itself, the space in between 2 clusters. And I'm going to start my yarn with just a half hitch. That's all you need. You don't need to make it into a knot, because once you start going, it will, and then once you tie in your ends, it will be very secure. I promise. Okay. So now I'm just going to do chain 1. Now in that very, very, very same space, I'm going to kind of make that a little tighter. I'm going to do a single crochet. Now in each and every, and here's where it's absolutely vital you get the count right. In each and every stitch and between each granny cluster, you're going to do a single crochet. Okay, so I'm going to start. I'm going to find that first one. It's kind of niggly. There we go. 1. So that's 2 and 3 and 4. Now, because I know I've got 12 clusters, I have basically 4 stitches per cluster. I know that I have to have 48 single crochets by the time I am done. All right. Right. Okay. So that's 5, 6, 7, and 8, and 9. I'm going to catch the one. I forgot to catch the blue one, but the darker blue one, but that's okay. And then 10. 10. Yep. That was 11 and 12. Between 13 and then 14, 15 and 16. Okay. There we go. And then 17, 18, 19, and 20. And yes, I am counting each and every one of these out because I want to ensure that, and I probably won't count them out with you, but I have to admit at the very end, I will ensure that I count to make sure I have 48 stitches. It is absolutely vital to the shape of your final square. And again, even if you're doing I have several, there we go, several mandala shawls, sweaters, vests, where you start off with a massive, like huge center circle, and then you have to square it. You have to make sure even by the time you've got 270 or more stitches in a round, you've got to make sure your counts are correct, because otherwise when you start to square it or start to make a different shape out of it, it's not going to work. Okay. And there we go. All right. So you keep going. You go ahead and keep doing this. And for those of you who don't want to see, oh goodness, look what I've done to see me do all these mistakes. You can fast forward again. I've decided that with all of my granny squares, and I think I said this before, but I'm not 100% sure. I want to show you how easy granny squares can be. So literally in 45, oh my goodness, maybe a little bit longer today. Oh my gosh. There we go. Okay, let's just get rid of that now. In 45 minutes of video, chatting, setting up, showing the new stitch, all of that. In 45 minutes, we can have a granny square done. If I'm upstairs doing, shame on me. Look what I did. not paying attention because I'm talking, and now I have to go back. So between the granny squares and then our granny clusters, and then we do the granny cluster. And this actually happened to me yesterday with that very first granny square. I realized when I did my count that I did not have 48 and that I had forgotten to do a couple of stitches. So it is absolutely vital because even seasoned hookers, oh goodness, get back there. Even seasoned hookers can make mistakes, okay? Now, Mom's squares, I'm just going to let you know this is going to be the last color change we're going to make because Mom did a different color in every round on a lot of hers. She's done some blankets where, again, like me, there's only 3 color changes. It's fine, okay? Now, I am going to put you on pause because I need to deal with something really super quick. But while you are finishing off, okay, do not do your slip stitch until you've made sure you have 48 single crochets around your square. If you are not sure, okay, turn it round and you can see that you should have, I'm sorry, just give me 1 second here. You should have, for every granny stitch, you should have 4 single crochets. The 1 in between, and then the 3 in the double crochets. All right, so I'm going to put you on hold for 2 seconds while I count mine and deal with something. I'll be right back. All righty, I am back. And I just counted, and thanks to my catching that one little tiny mistake, I did indeed have 48. Now, the reason I said my little chain here is going to be a little tighter is because I didn't want to miss and take the chain, not the first stitch. You don't want to catch the chain. You want to catch that first stitch. And that mine looks a little bit loosey-goosey, but that's okay. I'm not too concerned. And I'm going to slip stitch. Okay, so there we are. Now, again, you can change color here if you're so inclined. I'm not so inclined. I don't want to. Because again, I want to keep that same pattern look, okay, of 1, 2, 3, and then going back to my original color. So the last 3 rows, yes, the last 3 rows are indeed done with the first color, okay? So now we are on round 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and now 5. So I'm not changing color. Please feel free to change color if you're so inclined. I'm fine with that. Do as many colors as you want. You can do 6 different colors. It's all good. All righty. So now we are going to do the shaping. Right now we have, there we go. Right now we have a circle. We're going to make it a square. Okay. So with this one, okay, we want to come back right into this stitch here. Okay. Can you see that? Oopsie. So when we slip stitched from this stitch into this stitch. That's the stitch we're going to start in. Okay. And for this one, we're going to learn how to do the standing treble. So 1, 2 twists, get it in that first stitch, and then yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. All right. Now, again, it looks very twisty. It's fine because when you do the rest of, oops, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hit you guys. I'm so sorry. When we do the rest of, okay, our thing, it's going to be hidden. I promise. Now, for those of you who want to do the chain, you're going to chain 4 plus 1, 2 more. All right. And you're going to do in that very, very, very same stitch. Oops. 2 more treble crochets. So try that one more time, Sherry. So you're going to catch 2 on your hook and then 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Wind twice and 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and that's most of our corner done. We just need to finish up with 1 more treble here to hide that first initial treble. Now, in the next 2 stitches, make sure we're getting the next stitch. Okay, we're going to do a double. 1 double, and in the next stitch, 2 doubles. In the next 2 stitches, we're going to do half doubles. So again, we're going to go through 1 and 2. So again, if this is confusing you, what we're doing, in the first few videos that I did, I showed you in our, I don't even know where I put that swatch. I must leave that out. We did the stepping stone of our stitches. So a chain was obviously the first step, then single crochet, then half double, then treble, right? And you can even go crazy and do the double treble. Oh my stars, that's a long one. It's more for lacy stuff and for stuff that you want to really have that lacy look to. So right now what we're doing is we're creating those steps so that we can create corners. All right. So in the next 3 stitches, so not this one, 1, doing a single crochet, a second single crochet, and a third single crochet. Okay. So we've got our corner trebles. Then we're going to do 2 doubles, 2 half doubles, and 3 singles. Now that's our half of our row done. So now we've got to go back up again. So now we're going to do, oops, I'm so sorry. 1, 2 half doubles to go step up again. We're going to do 2 doubles to step up again. 1 and 2. And now we're in the corner again. So now we're going to do our next step up, which is the treble, and all of those trebles and the chain 2 space are all going to be done in this next stitch. Okay, so wrap your yarn twice and go through 1, 2, and 3. That's 1 done. Wrap your yarn twice, same stitch, 1, 2, 3, chain 2, wrap your yarn twice, same stitch, 1, 2, and 3, wrap your yarn twice, same stitch, 1, 2, and 3. How are you doing? So there we are. We've got our first partial corner. Now we've got our first full corner done. So again, we've got to do our steps. So, oh my goodness. And no, these don't count in your daily steps. Shame on you for thinking so. So now we're going to step down. We're going to do 1 and 2 double crochets in the next 2 stitches. Then we're going to do our half doubles. 1 and 2, right? Then we're going to do our 3 singles. 1, 2, and 3. Now we've got to step up again. So we're going to do 2 half doubles, 1 and 2. Step up again, 2 doubles, 1 and 2. And now we're back in our corner. So now we've got to yarn over twice, and all the next stitches are going to be done in this 1 stitch. So we've got 1 treble, wrap twice, 2 trebles, chain 2, wrap twice, another treble to start the new side, wrap twice, and our second treble completing our corner. Okay, so now we've got to step down again. So now we've got to do 2 doubles. There's 1. In the next stitch, a second double, 2, 2 half doubles, 1 half double, and in the next stitch, our second half double. Now we have to do 3, so 1, 2, and 3 single crochets. So that's our smallest step. Now we've got to step up again. So we've got 1, 2 half doubles, and then 2 doubles, 1 and 2. And then we do our next corner. Okay, how you doing? 1, oops, go back through. wrap my yarn twice, 2 in the same stitch, chain 2, wrap twice, and 1, and wrap twice, 2. There we are. Okay, so there's our third corner, plus the one we're going to finish at the end. So now we've got to step down again. So we've got 1 double, 2 doubles, 1 half double, and 2 half doubles. Now we've got to do 3 singles. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, right. Now we're going to do 2 more half doubles. Make sure we're not overlapping. 1 and 2. Now we've got to do 2 doubles. And 1, and make sure I've got the last stitch. I do indeed. 2. Now we've got to do our last treble crochet right into that very, very first stitch. And guess what? We are almost done. Now, for those of you who did a chain 4, you have to count up 4 chains. Don't get it into the last 2 because then your corners are going to look a bit wonky. Okay? And I'm going to find the top of my actual treble. Let me just look at it here. One side of the V. And, oh, goodness gracious. And come on. And 2 sides of the V. Come on, get in there. There we go. Good enough. Okay, and I'm going to do a slip stitch. But, don't finish off. We've got one last round to do, and that's going to make everything look a little more square. Because as you can see here, this one looks a lot more square than this one does. Okay, all it is a simple round of single crochet. So we are going to start right here. We're going to chain 1. And we're going to do a single crochet 1, and in the corners we're going to do 1, 2, chain 2, and 1, 2, and making sure we catch our very, very first treble. We're going to single crochet all the way down this side. All right, so in each corner, oh goodness gracious, there we go. In each corner, you're going to have 2 single crochets, chain 2, 2 single crochets. Okay, that's what's going to be in each corner, and in each and every stitch along the side, you're going to have your single crochets. All right, so now for those of you who don't want to sit through me chatting, you can fast forward to the end, or pretty much this one is done. On and 2. So you can stop it here. I would like it if you would go to the end, but please feel free to stop it here because I'm just going to say I've had an amazing commenter, an amazing comment on one of my videos that said she would love to learn how to make a poncho. So we're going to be doing super, super, super easy. But with another commenter who said, always have the picture at the beginning. I'm going to try very hard to do that. I'm getting better. I promise I'm getting better. But always have the picture at the beginning of the video. I'm not going to be able to put that video up until the poncho is completely made. So with life and everything else going on around me, I don't always have a chance to sit and work on just video stuff. So I'm going to warn you right now, I have a feeling that is going to be at least 2 weeks in the making. That doesn't mean that we can't do granny squares and all of that in between. Speaking of which, tomorrow is Monday. Tomorrow I would like to try and do hopefully a better live. So for those of you, excuse me, for those of you who want to be a part of my live, please feel free. I'm going to try to, I found the cutest little pattern. Oh my goodness. And I will do my best to find the website that I got it from. I have no idea what it is, but I'll find it. I promise. And so tomorrow we're going to do a cute little rose granny square. And I promise you, it's going to look so hard. I'm actually going to make one when I go upstairs. But it's not hard. Okay, I promise. So I'm going to schedule a live for tomorrow morning. I'm hoping 10 o'clock works. And my dear Ascendant, I know that's probably your nighttime because you're in Australia. So please get some sleep. Do not think you need to be a part of my live. However, if you want to join me, you're more than welcome to, because it would be very cool to see you in one of my lives. Anyway, but that, everyone, is the last of this granny square. So as you can see, as I was going along, I was making sure I did two single crochets in the corner with 2 chains and 2 single crochets. Now I'm back. Oh, I get back camera right. And then I did a single crochet along every, make sure I've got it all. Yes, I do. Now I'm going to slip stitch. There we are. Now, because this is an end, I was going to show you something new, but this video has frustrated me to no end. So I'm not going to show you anything new today. But I am just going to do a quick little, there we go, chain and finish off. Now, as you can see, we now have 2 of the different kinds and colors. Oh, that one turned out a bit bigger. I wonder why. Maybe I was just, I don't know. Anyway, whatever. It's a little bit bigger. I don't really care. I can make it work. And as you can see, now we have 2 of the different patterns in the same colorway. And I really like how these are turning out. So the problem is I don't have enough of this stuff to make a faux blanket. So what I probably will end up doing is making as many scores as I've got with the color combo that I've got, and then doing something else around them or whatever. Okay. So now literally all you have left to do is do off your ends. And again, and I said this yesterday and I kind of disgusted myself. So I'm going to try to say this a little bit better. When you're doing your beginning little center piece here with all of your initial startup stitches, if one of your squares is tight and another one is loose, try to tighten the hole up as much as you can, but always remember you want as much conformity as possible. Now this one I've tried to tighten up, and that's as tight as it's going to get, so that I know that that's what my hole is going to be cinched up to. This one is a little bit tighter. So I'm going to poke my hook through my hole to loosen it up just a little bit. Oh my. So that my hole isn't as tight as it was. And I'm going to make it the same size as my first one. Oh my goodness. Okay, no more talking about holes and cinching. No more clenching holes. So there we are. We are done. And I promise you, I am not going to cheat. I'm going to do in all my ends. And at that point, we're all good. So upcoming things. So tomorrow, I'm going to try to have a live. For any of you who would love to join me, I would love to have you. Recognizing tomorrow is a Monday. And a lot of you work. I'm fine with that because I'm still very nervous. And so I don't know if I can handle a whole lot of people in here. And for those of you who would like to join me again, please feel free. I'm terrible with names. I'm sorry, excuse me. I'm terrible with names, but I will try to remember everybody's name as they come in and say hello to you. But we are almost an hour into this, and this is the 3rd time. I don't remember how many times this is. I'm done. So I shall see you all tomorrow. I will be starting that poncho video, but like I said, it will take me probably a good 2, maybe even 3 weeks to make it. So don't expect that anytime soon. And I'm going to do a very, very short video this week regarding works in progress and the dreaded WIP file. So on that note, be kind to yourself. Remember that life will happen whether we like it or not. The kinder we are to ourselves, the happier we can be. My name is Sherry, and I am addicted to yarn.